This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review and what we are getting into next. We're your host, Cheryl.
And Jay.
All right. So this week we finally got to, I guess this is officially the opening of the box office, summer box office?
Yes.
Maybe. This week we watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the 6th entry into the franchise. It's
lots of monkey movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be wrong. Don't quote me, y'all. But Jay is on deck to quiz me. What you got?
Okay, so this film for the visual effects borrowed concepts from another popular visual effect heavy film franchise.
Okay. What is it?
What film franchise?
Oh, the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings?
No.
Oh.
No. Think more modern, blockbuster, visual effect heavy franchise.
Not mocap or visuals?
Both.
Oh.
Yeah, borrowed techniques, mocap and visual effect techniques
So
from another very popular film franchise.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
I'm worried.
I'm trying to think of animals because that's what you typically do mocap for, right?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So non-human.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
Oh.
That's a good guess. Guardians of the Galaxy has great visual effects.
Did they do mocap for Jurassic Park?
Jurassic
World?
I don't think so.
No, not for the dinosaurs. Who else had a lot of animals, but Ghostbusters are just ghosts. Ooh, am I hot or cold?
Ghostbusters are definitely getting colder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like Frozen Empire. Dun-dun-dun.
Like Frozen Empire colder.
Can I get a clue? Lifeline? Can I use a phone friend?
Sure. One of the reasons they had to use these techniques is because they really wanted the apes to look realistic interacting with water.
Avatar?
Yes.
Oh, they would have used a lot of mocap. Okay, see, because I didn't watch the last Avatar movie, so I'm like, didn't even register on my radar. I'm thinking of movies I've seen.
Yeah, so they brought a lot of so they didn't use the volume. It was, there was a lot of assumption that they used the volume for a lot of the background effects, but they just used full CGI for that.
Oh.
But as far as like the motion capture and some of the visual effects techniques, they borrowed from Avatar because Avatar, they wanted it to look like Avatar as far as everything looking against nature and water and stuff like that.
Okay. That's a good movie to pick from.
Yeah. I mean, out of all of visual effects movies, Avatar would be a great one to steal from.
I was going to say like 95% of the movie is mocap.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the trivia of the week. Let's get into the episode.
All right.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we have a lot of new movie announcements for this episode. Some very exciting casting news we'll kick off with, and just a little bit of Buncha Crunch and one whole trailer this episode. Yes, so
exciting.
Let's jump right into casting news. I'm actually gonna let Jay take this because I feel like he is a very big fan of one of these people that got casted. So I'll let you go.
Okay. Okay, so in casting news, we have more casting announcements for Fantastic Four. Yay. We have John Malcovich, who's acting legend, clearly, who has been casted in an undisclosed role for the film. So we don't have very much information on that.
However, you mentioned Mole Man last time, and Eric Voss from New Rockstars, if you don't know who that is, also must have thought that Mole Man might have been for the other guy, Paul, but he's thinking it might be John this time.
I mean, Mo Man's kind of like a gag villain, so that would make sense. They could have John Malkovich make like a cameo as like Mo Man and be very small.
Somebody also mentioned, because now we're at a point of we're speculating because we don't know who it is. The dad of not Storm.
Sue Storm?
Her name is Storm. Okay. I'm like, Storm's black.
There's so many.
Sue Storm and Johnny. He might play their dad. And I don't know if their dad was significant in the comics or not, enough for them to cast a whole role for him.
I mean, he owns the Baxter Building.
Okay.
So
it might not even be a big role.
He's the guy that puts them all together because he owns the company that gives them the funding to do all their research. So he could be their dad.
Okay. And I guess that makes it. And another person guessed he was going to voice Herbie.
He could voice Herbie. He'd be a very mean Herbie, though.
I mean, but that would be like a kind of like, little difference for him to do. So we don't know. So we'll see, I guess. The
wheels are still turning on John Malkovich's role in this. However, we have confirmation of one particular casting announcement in this film, and that is for Ralph Ineson.
Ooh.
If you don't know who Ralph Ineson is, he's been in a lot of movies. Yeah. He was just recently in The First Omen. Which
people seem to think he was the best part of that movie.
He was in The Creator.
Yep. He's not a nice guy, but he was in it. Mm-hmm.
He was also in the Vivitch with Anya Taylor-Joy. That was the movie. That was the first movie I ever saw him in. That was the movie with Anya Taylor-Joy where they were like the pilgrims living in the forest and there was like a witch that was like stalking them or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He played the dad in that.
He also voiced or did I don't know, I'm assuming he also did the mocap for Green Knight. He was the knight in Green Knight.
Yes, he was the tree-looking knight in Green Knight. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, he was Sidophilus Telemann in Final Fantasy 16, which we just finished not too long ago.
Yes.
But about a year after it came out.
He was a great Sid. One of the best characters if not the best character.
Yeah, every Final Fantasy has a Sid character, like in the multiverse of Sids, and he's like the best Sid.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I would agree.
Very excited about Ralph Ineson. He liked one of my tweets a long time ago when I said that he was one of the best Sids in history. So yeah, very excited for this.
He knows us, and I say us because he knows you by proxy, so he knows me too.
He also had a small background role in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
He was a Ravager.
One of the Ravagers. I don't think he had any speaking lines though. But
I don't think he did either.
He was in the movie.
He was also Koro in Harry Potter. Is it Koro? He was one of the Death Eaters.
Yes,
in Harry Potter.
He was.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Ralph Ineson will be playing Galactus.
We just talked about Galactus last episode. I was like, are we forgetting Galactus? No, they haven't.
Yeah, so it was rumors going around that Javier Bardem was in talks to be Galactus, and he was the lead. And now those are the rumors for a very long time that scoopers were tossing around each other because
the rest of us were like, sure.
That's how it goes when scoopers. One person makes it up, and then the other people corroborate so that it seems truer the more they bounce it back and forth between each other. But nobody knew that Ralph Ineson
or John Malkovich
were even in discussions.
Not
in these,
even a peep, not even a small drop of rain type of leak.
Speculating and brainstorming is great and fun to do, but these people don't really have an insight on what's going on.
They getting less and less credible every time a casting, like Pedro Pascal. Not a single. Nobody was like, "Oh, I heard about Pedro Pascal." Literally, it came out. And we were all like, "What?"
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got to keep their jobs, I guess. So they gonna keep making up stuff.
This is a good choice.
Excellent
choice. When we think of Galactus, if you've seen Eternals, you want to think of like on the scale of a Celestial.
It's huge.
And he has a really distinct, really good voice that would be really good like in surround sound playing like a villain.
There is a good YouTube clip that somebody put together. It's only like 30 seconds of Sid in Final Fantasy 16. So if you YouTube Sid Final Fantasy 16, you'll probably get that 30-second clip that just shows you what his voice sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be good.
Very, very good. Very excited. We were already excited about seeing this movie. Filming begins at the end of July 2024. So
right off the heels of Pedro wrapping up some other romantic comedy. I don't know if it's romantic comedy.
Yeah.
He's on film. He's on set filming a movie with Madam Web.
Dakota Johnson. So.
Yes, that's her name.
Shout out to them.
Wrap it up so we can start Fantastic Four.
In other casting news, we have A$AP Rocky has joined the cast of Spike Lee's film High and Low for A24. He'll be joining Denzel Washington and Ice Spice. So
and Jeffrey Wright. Hello.
and Jeffrey Wright. So I
Here's
trust
what
Spike
we'll
Lee.
Here's what I'll say about this. I think the casting of Ice Spice and A$AP Rocky is a hint or maybe a tale that there's going to be like 2 rappers in the movie, like small roles.
Maybe we don't even know what this movie is about.
Well, it's a crime thriller.
Yeah.
So think of like Training Day, where there's Snoop Dogg was in Training Day, and he was in it for like, I don't know, 30 seconds. I don't think they're going to have significant roles.
It could be like Set It Off.
Right. So people were tripping about it. Like, they're taking roles away from talent. Like, listen, they're probably going to be dead by the end of the movie.
Yeah, anyway. I wouldn't stress too much about
congratulations to Rihanna's.
Congratulations to Rihanna, period.
Yeah, it's babies.
Yes. More money for Rihanna and Rihanna's
cute
offspring.
Little kids. Cute, so cute.
And last bit of casting news, Manuel Garcia-Rulfo has been cast as lead in the next Jurassic movie. Mm-hmm. There's no word on what role he'll be playing in this. No. The only thing we don't know about this film, because nothing has been confirmed, is that maybe Gareth Edwards is directing it.
And maybe Scarlett Johansson is the lead along with Jonathan Bailey.
Yes, that's it.
I will say that I was, in my Googling of all of this, Dev Patel's name is not coming up as much, so I don't.
Yeah, he was in talks to be the lead, and then it got replaced with Jonathan Bailey. So they stopped talking about Dev.
Because I was like, how many leads we need in one movie, y'all? It's literally like the most you need is 3. At the most.
Usually Jurassic movies, that first Jurassic Park had a big cast when you think about it.
But the leads were literally Malcolm, Grant, and Laura Dern. That was like 3. They was a trio.
But the 2 kids was leads too.
Fair enough. So 4 at the most. But we need another woman if we gonna have like 3 men.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So, excited for that. He is from Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer, which gets good reviews. I think Nev Campbell's in that show.
Yes, I think you're correct.
And he was also in A Man Called Otto, which he must have been the husband.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, oddly enough, we saw the ending of that movie when we were on vacation.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I never saw this.
He was okay in that, but we didn't see him acting against dinosaurs, so
we didn't.
We don't know.
How can he do against some green screen? Is the question.
How can he? What is his acting like against a velociraptor?
Hello.
But good for him and good for everybody, and especially Ralph Ineson.
Yeah,
so
listen,
more excited for Fantastic Four.
So excited. His voice is just so perfect. Like,
it is. It's really good.
I don't think anybody could have guessed that it was going to be him, but I also was like, y'all, perfect. You know what? Give the casting director of Marvel, it's a woman, I believe. I can't remember her name. Give her a raise.
It's one of those good surprises that I almost wish they would have saved for Hall H. Because who else is left in Fantastic Four major to cast that's gonna be like,
they could give us the plot. How about that?
They could, but that would have been a great Hall H surprise. Is that we've casted Galactus and Ralph Ineson walks out.
You're right, because I don't think we knew. Can't remember if we knew Tom Hiddleston was playing Loki or if they did that at Hall H.
We didn't know Mahershala was playing Blade,
right?
Or that it was coming out. So
interesting.
Yeah,
maybe they'll save something else for that.
We didn't know Chadwick Boseman was playing Black Panther. That was an on-stage reveal.
We didn't. I wonder what surprise they're gonna bring. We'll see.
Maybe the new Kang.
Well, that would be a very big one.
Okay, on to other news in movies.
New movies. So many new movies.
And cycling right back around to John Malkovich. He is going to be in a movie called Opus that is alongside Yeoh Edebiri, who is from
The Bear.
Yes.
We blanked for a second. I was like, I was actually going to say Abbott Elementary, but she's more known for The Bear.
Yeah. So this is going to be a horror movie. The plot is that an ambitious young journalist is handpicked to attend the executive album reveal of an enigmatic pop legend, Alfred Moretti, at his remote desert island. As this weekend unfolds, the guests eventually realize that Moretti and his devoted cult of followers have a deadly plan in store.
This is an A24 movie.
It sounded a lot like Blink Twice.
It is. Is that? No, that's. I think that's MGM.
Yeah.
The fact it's a horror movie means it's gonna be probably. I'm gonna guess gory. It's giving Talk to Me vibes. It's giving.
I guess he was in the Bird Box. John Malkovich. That was kind of bloody.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, he was the guy he was the homeowner that Well, no, was he the homeowner?
I ain't seen Bird Box in so long.
I think he was the owner of the home that they were camping out in the beginning of Bird Box.
I can believe
like
it.
The first half of the movie.
John Malkovich in a horror is a good play. Ayo get more roles is a good play. This is different for her because she typically does comedy.
Yes,
or I guess The Bear is like a drama. They put Bear in comedy drama categories. I'm like, this not.
But John Malkovich is also very funny, so it could be be like a black comedy.
Dark comedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dark comedy.
I see. We don't know anything else about this other than it's a horror movie. It's A24. It's starring 2 actors, and we don't know when it's coming out.
It sounds like Blink Twice.
It
may be different, so.
It sounds very much like that movie, so that'll be interesting.
Next film on the list is a sci-fi psychological thriller called Head Games, and that's going to star Samuel L. Jackson and Henry Golding, who is from Snake Eyes.
Yes.
And Crazy Rich Asians. Mm-hmm.
He's from a few other things, but in the article that I think I read this on Hollywood Reporter, they didn't mention Snake Eyes at all. I was like, hey, he was in Snake Eyes, y'all.
I would keep that to myself too,
Henry. It's not a great movie, but he was in it.
So the plot synopsis is that Henry is set to play Jacob, a corporate spy who poses as a personal chef to Graham, the former founder of neuroprosthetics firm.
Sure.
That is Samuel Jackson. So that's giving me like brain implants.
Oh, yeah. So, put something in your brain so you can have like arms or legs or something.
That's probably why it's called Head Games. It clicks now. But Jacob's real goal is to infiltrate the boss's villa to steal his transformative new invention. As his plans unfolds, nothing is as it seems, and the mind games begin between the 2 protagonists.
How is Henry a protagonist if he a thief? Stealing from a black man.
The same way he was the protagonist in Snake Eyes, and he was the thief.
Listen,
and he ruined that whole clan.
Sure. So he got a good...
he was the villain.
He does a good job of playing a protagonist who's really the
Snake
the
Eyes
worst.
was the bad guy in Snake Eyes.
Gosh. Don't get me started on that movie. This sounds very interesting, though.
I'm going to guess the twist, and is that Henry Golding has the implant and he doesn't know it.
I was going to guess... I wouldn't have guessed that. Now my mind was blown.
Because nothing, his plan unfolds and nothing is as it seems is interesting.
Maybe, okay. Maybe more people, I was thinking like robots or maybe Samuel Jackson's fake. But
he could be fake. He could be like a robot or something.
I mean,
neuroprosthetics definitely means brain implant, I believe.
Exactly.
I'm going to Google.
It's
I
definitely
don't want to sound like an idiot.
I mean, somebody gonna fact check us on YouTube. Be like, that is not what that means. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, so neuroprosthetics is a multidisciplinary field at the interface between neuroscience and biomedical engineering. Yeah, it's a brain implant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Samuel Jackson in anything is good to me. Well, not any and everything, but that you already draw me in with Samuel Jackson. This sounds interesting though.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we're getting a lot of like psychological thriller / horror movies.
Yeah.
Because that goes into our next movie.
Yes.
Greta Lee and Kingsley Ben-Adir are in talks to star in a sci-fi horror. So we're getting psychological thrillers, horrors, and then we get sci-fi horrors, which is kind of like your aliens of sorts. It's going to be called 11/8/17, and the synopsis is in 11/8/17, which I'm assuming is the year? Or I'm assuming it's the year. This is a very, very far future film, if that is the case.
8/17?
That's just the name of the film.
I mean,
we're gonna go.
I don't know, like 2017?
Maybe. We're gonna go with it.
Okay.
We're gonna say it's a year. It's the year until we are corrected. 11/8/17. Inexplicable forces trap a family of 4 inside their house indefinitely. As both modern luxuries and life or death essentials begin to run out. Ain't never good. The family must learn how to be resourceful to survive and outsmart who or what is keeping them trapped. So
I'm confused.
Well, it sounds, these movies where you keep people in one space the whole movie has to be done really well. Kind of how that Strangers movie that's coming out, like
10 Cloverfield Lane was good.
Okay.
You have to have the proper amount of tension.
Like Leave the World Behind was essentially mostly in one spot. And
Signs,
it was kind of like
that last half of the movie was kind of in one spot.
Yeah, you really gotta keep it interesting if you're not going to change the set.
Not got the cabin. Yeah, you really have to keep the suspension tension
because
high.
For me, a lot of times I'm like, well, what's going on outside?
Or
somebody turn on the news. What is going on?
We're planning on seeing the Watchers, and that seems to be set entirely in a box.
In a box, and then it's like they running in the forest, but it's essentially just one setting.
So hopefully the tension is high and it justifies the plot. Greta Lee is from Past Lives.
Yes.
And Kingsley Ben-Adir is better known as Bob Marley. We first discovered him in Secret Wars.
Yes.
Oh, no.
You was close. Secret Invasion. I know
Secret
what you meant.
Invasion.
I know what you meant. And he was also Barbie, or he was a Ken in Barbie.
Yes.
Which he plays different roles well. I will get that man.
He does. Yeah.
So he will probably play a very protective father. I'm assuming he's the father in this pretty well.
Next movie we have on the list, Monsanto.
Yep. You got it. I had it's Monsanto. It is the chemical company, which you don't hear very often. What you hear more often is the products that they sell. But go ahead with it.
Okay. So this is going to be a film starring Glenn Powell, Anthony Mackie, and Laura Dern.
Speaking of which.
Hey, JURASSIC alumni. This is a legal drama that tells the story of a young, untried attorney, Brent Wisner, who is Glenn Powell, who takes on a seemingly insurmountable case against the giant U.S. chemical company Monsanto on behalf of Dwayne Lee Johnson, who was Anthony Mackie. Johnson used the company's best-known product, Roundup, a wildly financial successful weed and grass pesticide killer, as part of his job as a high school groundskeeper, and is now suffering from an illness due to it.
I actually feel like I remember, or Monsanto has had a lot of lawsuits, and this is just one of them. But I feel like I remember hearing something about this when I was younger.
Laura Dern's character, she's going to be playing a chief toxologist who, of course, testifies that the product is safe.
Villain.
So Glenn Powell has been in a bunch of things lately, Anything But You. He was just in Top Gun 2.
He's also going to be in.
And he's going to be in Twister.
There it is.
He's going to be playing the new Joe.
Yeah. Is he Joe? Yeah, he's kind of Joe.
Yeah, they gender swapped Bill Paxton.
They are. They're doing a flip flop, but he's also a mix of the other guy in Twister too. He's like a mix of
Carrie
Joe.
Elwes?
Yeah, he's kind of a mix of both of those because he kind of gives like arrogant, kind of jerk vibes.
Yeah, it seems like they're not going to have a Carrie Elwes character in the movie. Yes. He's going to be both.
Right, he does seem like he's both.
Anthony Mackie, who is Captain America.
Yep.
And Laura Dern, who is a paleontologist.
Right. Turn toxicologist.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean.
I don't know if I'm excited about this. I don't like
legal dramas.
It reminds me of that. What was that Cher movie where she worked in a plant and she got killed?
Oh my God. What movie is that?
Hold on.
Cher was in a movie and got, I don't know. You know what? I don't think I've ever seen a Cher movie.
Silkwood.
Not a clue to what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's based on the story of Karen Silkwood, a worker in a plutonium production plant in the 1970s who dies in a car crash while on a mission to expose the plant's safety violations.
I've heard of the story. I don't think I knew that Cher did a movie.
Yeah, it was Meryl Streep, Cher, and Kurt Russell.
Nope.
Yeah, so it reminds me of Silkwood. And
also the movie that we did a review for, right? A little bit. The Burial. With Jamie Foxx, although that one was funny, I don't think this one gonna be funny.
No, this one doesn't look like it's gonna be funny. There are no comedians in this.
No. Anthony Mackie can be funny. I don't think.
Premise sounds good. Cast looks good. I don't think I'm interested in seeing this because it sounds sad. And I don't need a movie to tell me that a company in America is awful. Like a U.S. giant chemical company.
It's kind of like when they do those dramas about the tobacco companies, and they're like, "Oh, cigarettes weren't that bad," and you're like.
Didn't some giant company just get in trouble because they were like dumping waste in the ocean or dumping waste in the rivers?
Pick
it could
one.
Pick one. It could literally be anybody. I'm spending time trying to figure out who it is, and there's probably like 10 of them.
Yeah. So, if anything, I hope it's good and some awards maybe come out of it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We need a trailer, as we like to say.
Yeah. And in other news for franchises that are resuscitating themselves, there's a new Lord of the Rings movie that's being called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Okay, so it's going to be...
Wait. You don't sound excited.
No.
But you love Lord of the Rings.
I do, but Gollum is not one of the exciting parts of Lord of the Rings.
But you don't want to. You're not curious at how Gollum became Gollum, though.
We saw that in the beginning of Return of
but
the
it
King.
was only like, but we didn't see his actual train. Well, we did.
We did. We saw him commit a murder, and then we saw him go off into the caves and slowly desiccate.
So this must be it'll be written and directed by Andy Serkis, who is probably Andy Serkis does a lot of stuff, but he's best known for being Gollum. Yeah, doing the mocap for Gollum. Peter Jackson's back. He will be producing. I don't think we have a director yet, and it's set to be released in 2026. So we got a little while before this comes out. Now, I'm surprised they're doing this because of the reaction behind the Hobbit trilogy, which wasn't great.
No,
those movies weren't great.
Those movies were bad.
They pretty snore. It's snorefest. Best part was Smaug, who was voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, and then once he died, the bottom dropped out of that whole trilogy.
Yeah,
so and they killed him very quickly.
He comes at the very end of the second one, and then he's in the third one
for like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Anywho, trilogy was not great, so I'm surprised that they're doing this. But this sounds like this is going to be placed between when. I don't know, because weren't they hunting for Gollum, like the orcs and stuff, looking for Gollum at one point in like between Two Towers and Return of the King?
They were looking for him because he knew where the ring was. Okay. He knew that Bilbo had the ring, but that was about one of the most interesting things he did other than trying to kill Frodo. Gollum lore is so boring. As a character,
I'm curious of what the plot is.
He's a good villain. He's a good secondary villain because he's not a main. He was never the main villain in any of the Lord of the Rings.
You kind of felt bad for him sometimes.
You did feel bad for him, and I don't want to look at that for 2
You don't want to look at Gollum for 2.5 hours?
No,
because it's going to be 2.5 hours.
No.
Yeah, he don't look great. I don't know. People seem kind of excited. Somebody else was like, "How about y'all promote the movie that's coming out this year?"
The War for a Hero,
which is coming out in December.
This is starting to feel like they're just wringing out all the last bit of moisture they can get from the franchise.
They still, how about,
because this just doesn't follow. At least The Hobbit followed source material. It massacred it, but it at least had something to go off.
The Hobbit was the promise was there, and you was watching, and you were just kind of like, what is this?
They just had that Gollum video game that released earlier this year. It was one of the worst pieces of media ever put to disc. Well, I don't even think it was even put to disc. I think you could only get it digital. It was so bad. And then they pulled it and issued refunds. So,
that's real bad.
Yeah. So the love for Gollum is not there. But you know what? It's probably Andy Serkis pioneering this.
Well, you know what, and
he's really good in the role.
Props to Andy Serkis, who's done a lot of great things, but he also directed Venom too. So I'm a little worried.
Good motion capture.
Okay. So maybe we should go to the next movie.
Okay, so next on the list, Let Evil Go West. Why is this in red?
Because I didn't know if we should talk about it or not. Okay. And I forgot to take it out. So we mentioned it. Let's roll with it.
Okay. Let Evil Go West is a movie that's going to star Lily James from Cinderella.
I didn't know where else she was from. That's why I had to put that there.
I keep hearing her name a lot. But Cinderella and Sebastian Stan, who's Bucky. Hey. And this is going to be a psychological horror thriller. The plot synopsis said the film follows a railroad worker. Who finds fortune in disturbing circumstances, leading to terrifying visions that drive him to madness while his wife believes an evil presence is targeting their family.
Interesting premise.
Amityville Horror?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I was like, I'm trying to think of why I would care, but it's giving like a hard-working man beaten down by evil forces.
It's given what is it? All work and no play make Jack a dull boy from The Shining.
Yeah, I was kind of like, this sound kind of boring, but I'm sure they're gonna play it up. And Sebastian Stan's a good actor, so
he is. He was good and fresh with the girl from Twister,
Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yes.
Okay.
He was good and fresh. He played. He was not a cannibal, but he kidnapped women. And would keep them alive, but sell off their body parts to cannibals. And that's how he made his money.
I remember hearing about this movie now.
He would find it was
the
a very
cannibal clicked it for me. I was like, oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, it was a very good movie.
Okay. He also got praise for playing Tommy Lee Jones not Tommy Lee. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones and him and Pamela Anderson that.
Oh yeah, and he's about to play Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So
he don't
range.
Look, no, well, yeah, I'll give him that.
From enemy of the state as Bucky to
enemy of the state.
Yeah,
as the president.
I guess it's the same.
I mean, two different
parallels,
kind of enemies, but same body.
And last on the movie announcement list, we have Ben Stiller and Colin Farrell have confirmed to star in Belly of the Beast. This is going to be a true story of the unlikely friendship between notorious literary titan Norman Mailer, who is Stiller, and his protege Jack Henry Abbott, who is Farrell. Mm-hmm. It's funny because they're both like older, so
yeah. Yeah, they look like they could be around.
Let me not be
age.
ageist. Bolstered by Mailer's mentorship, Abbott is paroled after nearly a decade in prison. He gains instant popularity among the literary elite, but struggles with life on the outside.
Obviously.
When Mailer, creatively frustrated and envious of Jack's rising star, turns his back on his infamous protege, Jack spirals, committing an unforgivable act of violence in New York City diner just 6 weeks after his release.
So he goes back to jail?
Is this supposed to be funny?
No. Ben Stiller plays serious.
Does he?
I think he has.
In what?
Well, we know Colin Farrell will play serious.
What does he play serious? Oh, Colin Farrell, yeah. I'm thinking of Will Ferrell. That's why. So no, this is not supposed to be funny.
I was about to say that would be an interesting mashup. It's based on a true story. So
you know what?
I'm almost
Ben Stiller gave us
it.
Severance, so he can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm. He sure did,
and he can pull this off. So
need to see a trailer.
I do need to see a trailer, but also, is this why we've been waiting for so long for Severance? So we can see this restaurant movie with Colin Farrell, because we could have waited for that
restaurant movie. Oh my god.
Where's Severance been?
I think I'm actually going to Google this because I'm curious how it ends, just based on the synopsis that is given. Because it's kind of like, well, wouldn't Will Ferrell... No, now you messed me up. Wouldn't Colin Farrell's character just go back to jail? I don't know. I'm curious of what the setup is of why Norman just don't turn Henry in and then...
Is this set in the Severance universe? Because if not, I don't care.
Well, in that case, Will Ferrell... Dang it. You know what? Forget it. I can't get it out of my head now. I can't.
That is all for movie and casting news this week. Let's roll into the trailer park.
Beep, beep. Toot, toot. Beep, beep. We only have one trailer this week, and it is for Twisters. Now, we actually saw this trailer last week before Fall Guy.
Yeah, and that was turned out before it actually went live.
So they debuted it in the theater first, which they don't do, I feel like, super often. Unless it's like a huge...
They usually, if they do, they usually make a big deal about it to get people to go see whatever movie is playing.
Because I guess Twisters is a movie that's going to be very loud and action-packed, so... Maybe they were like, let's put it in theaters first and then let people see it that way before we put it online.
Who was responsible for the Fall Guy?
Like the studio?
Yeah.
Ooh, Universal?
Isn't Universal Twisters too?
Could be. I'm not
That's
sure.
probably why.
That could be.
Maybe. If we're wrong, ignore this part.
Right. Skip.
We're not going to research it.
So Twisters is coming out July 19th. So we're getting to that window of where they're going to start ramping up promotion. The trailer is basically starts out at a rodeo. I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what state they're in, but they're definitely at a rodeo drive-in movie type location.
Somewhere in Tornado Valley or Alley.
Yep. Somewhere in that little strip of the United States. And there's a big, huge, I was about to call it a trailer. A big, huge twister tornado.
Nobody saw that snuck up on everybody.
Which is because they outside at a rodeo. The rodeo is outside.
So it's dark, and you can't see a tornado if there's no moonlight. You can't see a tornado. Sir, but I mean, you could feel gale force winds. But
it's loud.
Yeah, and y'all are outside. Like nobody was like, it's suspiciously windy out here.
So the tornadoes just don't like.
The tornado is a jump scare.
Yeah, there it is. I was like, tornadoes just, you're not like having a perfect day and it'd be like, boom, tornado. Like it literally has to build up. So the tornado comes out of nowhere and it's chaos and havoc. And then we get back into the plot and then we get Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell's character, Anthony Ramos pops up in this. It's very nonsensical. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's just back-to-back tornadoes. It looks like it's going to be good, turn your brain off fun. We didn't talk about the premise the last time we talked about the trailer.
I don't think so.
That now the premise has become a lot more clear. So the first twister is about them using Dorothy to create a newer early warning system for tornadoes. Correct. In this twister, they're using Dorothy to dissipate tornadoes. Oh my God. And to stop tornadoes.
It's such nonsense. It's such nonsense.
When we say absolutely get you the largest bucket of popcorn.
And just leave your brain in the car. Yeah,
just take it out, open up the hatch, dump the brain out, leave it in the glove compartment, and just go in and have a good time.
I'm a little disappointed though. At least the original twister, they tried some science. Like, it was like, this science is not completely accurate, but and they literally outran a tornado. Yeah. It was crazy. But there was a little bit there was some heart, there was some, some friendship, some rivalry. This just seems like Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar are going to be like this little couple, and they're going to be trying to take down tornadoes, which sounds freaking ridiculous. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, the people were clowning the poster that just came out because there's 2 tornadoes in the poster, but one of them is behind them and they're running away from it, but they're also looking at a tornado and they're like, do they realize the tornado's behind them? But there's another little tornado in the rearview mirror. And it's just
if you look in the rearview mirror, you can see a tornado that is clearly in front of them. You can't be
between 2 large tornadoes and survive.
And why are you outside the car?
Why are you outside the car? Because in the trailer, in the poster, the car looks perfectly fine.
But I'm extremely excited for this. This looks absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it just looks. There's like a fire tornado apparently.
It's giving Moonfall vibes.
It's definitely the Moonfall of twisters.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Yeah.
It's
Geostorm.
Oh my God! It just looks. We're going to go try to see it, and hopefully they have this in Prime.
Oh, yeah,
AMC.
Absolutely. I need to feel the wind.
Because we want to try to get to a movie that has like the seats and the I don't know. I don't even know what it is. It just sounds loud and obnoxious theater. So we want to try it.
We're arguing about realism. I mean, the first twister ended where they went inside a tornado after they strapped themselves to a pipe with like a leather belt.
You're not wrong.
And survived. Like, even if you didn't get your skin pulled off, you would have died from like lack of oxygen. Like, I can't breathe if it's too windy outside. I'm walking my dog.
All their clothes was on and everything. Like, they at least take
they weren't naked.
Like, right. Nothing. You're right. It's crazy.
It's gonna be fun.
I just didn't realize the nonsensicalness until this trailer. So July 19th, y'all. We gonna be watching it. I don't even know why I'm tripping. Like, we're not.
So our short trip to the trailer park is over. Let's dive into this Buncha Crunch. First tidbit we have is that Vin Diesel is already lining up job security with reviving another revived franchise. We should add 2 segments. We should have priest, vampires, and rituals as a segment, and then we should have like something
Back
about
from the Dead.
Yes,
franchises.
The Empire Strikes Back or something.
Yeah.
So Vin Diesel's Riddick is being revived with another installment called Riddick Furya.
Does this not sound like Furiosa?
We see you, Vin Diesel.
I was like, so
we see what you are.
Title sound like Furiosa, but anywho.
So yeah, he's going to return as Riddick, and this is going to begin filming in August. I saw Pitch Black.
I didn't see.
I saw Chronicles of Riddick. We saw the sequel to Pitch Black.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last one in the franchise where he wasn't
Ice Cube? No, that was Triple X. I was like, wasn't Ice Cube Riddick?
Yeah.
But no, that was Vin Diesel's other franchise.
Yeah. So Fast 9 is Fast 10 or 11?
11.
Is going to be the last one of this saga.
Supposedly.
Before they revive it with like Dom and Letty's Child or something.
And they're going to be riding like mopeds.
Yes. And like the Force Ghost of John Cena.
Yes.
So I need to see a trailer. But the Riddick movies are interesting. People said that outside of Fast and Furious, it's the best acting he does. So I don't know, because I don't see that many Vin Diesel movies.
Right. I was like, I haven't seen these movies in so long. I don't even remember what his acting was like in them. Apparently, this has been on the docket for a while, and it's finally out of development purgatory.
Yeah, I think Riddick is like his thing. Like, he has the rights to Riddick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he decides when he's like the Barbara Broccoli of the Riddick franchise.
And I guess he's been busy. He's been doing Guardians and Fast, Furious. And
yeah, I keep forgetting he does Guardians. So
that's
yeah.
work.
Good for him. There is a live-action Matchbox movie that's coming with the Extraction director Sam Hargrave set to direct.
Sam.
Remind me, Matchbox is in like the toys? Okay, well, Extraction is good. Why? But let's focus on Extraction 3.
Or just something else.
Or how about we get Extraction into theaters? How about we do that?
They're not going to shift it after 2 movies. They should. They could, but they're not. But yes, give us, because Extraction 2 ended a setup for Extraction 3. And Idris Elba was in it. So.
Okay. Yeah, true. Okay, so fine.
I don't. Okay. Sure. Matchbox live action. Somebody wants it. I'm sure one person has asked for it. Not me, though.
Ty West wants to add more X's to his franchise. So Ty West, if you are familiar with the X franchise, it's X. And then there is Pearl. And there is Maxine that is coming out, all starring Mia Goth. He said he has an idea for a 4th film in the X franchise after this Maxine one. That's not technically a spoiler because Mia Goth's character could die in this movie.
She gets like reincarnated.
Yes, they just keep like versions. Yeah. So she basically plays like different characters in a lot of the movies,
which I think is I am going to watch the other 2. I promise before we go see Maxine. But I think it's cool that she's plays different people in the same universe.
Yeah,
I don't know what other franchise does that.
I like that, and there is a connection there. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it because you haven't watched it. But there is a connection between like her character and the other characters in the other movies. Okay. Yes. Monkey Paw production has a movie called Him coming out that is going to star Marlon Wayans, and it releases in theaters on September 19th, 2025.
Monkey Paw is Jordan Peele's production company.
Yes, so Spook.
Yeah, it's called a horror movie.
The film follows a promising young football player who is invited to train at the isolated compound of a dynasty team's aging quarterbacks. Yes. QB1s.
Interesting premise. I don't know if we get in very many sports horror movies. Like we get plenty horror movies, but sports horror?
So who is the young football player?
They did cast somebody, but I can't remember what his name is. Okay. But for some reason, they only mentioned Marlon Wayans, which was kind of interesting.
So is the young football player like a no-name or something?
I think so. If he's not, sorry. But they were only mentioning Marlon Wayans when they talked about this movie getting a date.
This might be a black comedy, a dark comedy.
Yes.
Because Marlon Wayans
you said black because Marlon Wayans in you.
Both. It's dual. Marlon Wayans is most notably known as a comedian, but he does do serious roles. He was in that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot as Will Smith's dad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So excited for him. Marlon Wayans. I don't remember the last time I saw him in like a big mainstream production, but Jordan Peele doesn't miss. So this is a really good role for him.
I might check this one out. Yeah. I usually stay away from Jordan Peele because I don't do like true horror. I do fake horror movies. But I might check this out.
He usually has the trailer set to the backdrop of like a legendary hip hop song.
I do watch the
I'm very interested in that too. Yes. Yes. 28 Years Later gets a release date. It's going to be releasing in theaters on June 20th, 2025. Also, Cillian Murphy is on to produce it, but we are not sure if he's going to be in the film or not. And I don't think he got a loaded cast. He kind of had a happy ending.
Okay.
At the end of those movies.
The cast is already pretty loaded, so I wonder where, he might make like a cameo for old time's sake.
Yeah, but it makes sense. 28 Years Later is kind of very early in his career, kind of where he started. Right. And now he's like winning Oscars, so going back to contribute to your roots is a very good idea. Very cute. No, are you going to see it? It's a zombie spook.
Oh,
and these zombies run. And they're like feral.
No.
Okay.
I could barely handle the zombies in Maze Runner. That was my limit. I was like, I literally threw popcorn up because of zombies.
Well, and they're not really zombies.
Oh, now you're changing it on me.
Well, because they don't eat people. It's called The Rage. It's like
what do they do then?
It's like what's that? What did Cujo have? It's like rabies. It's like they gave humans rabies and they're like very angry, aggressive. They don't eat people, but they are like bloody and weird looking, and they do like beat you to death if you get too close. Okay, it makes a difference.
Congratulations.
Eating people versus bludgeoned is different. It's different.
If they still no, it's not the fact that the zombies eat people that bothers me. It's the fact that they look like a zombies.
And they're all shot like the way they're shot. It's like, what do they call it? It's like guerrilla filmmaking, where it's like it's
like a shaky cam.
Yes, it's shot like a war documentary. Like it's always tense and the angles are weird.
I need to see a trailer to see if I can handle it.
Yeah, those are how all those movies are shot.
Oh, very interesting.
Shang-Chi writer Dave Callahan will script the next installment of the Godzilla vs. Kong Monsterverse. That's good.
Yeah, so they've already said that we get another. Yeah, essentially.
I think Adam Wingard, I don't think it's been announced, but he's definitely going to come back because he did the other two, so they're going to let him finish.
And I think he actually he signed on to do another movie, so I wonder if it's going to be a little while before we get this next Godzilla.
Yeah, I think he's taking a break because he's doing like another psychological thriller. Yep. He's going back to horror because that's where he started.
Oh, I didn't think I knew that.
And then he's going to come back to this. I'm absolutely sure they're going to give him the deal for that.
Yeah.
I mean, why fix something that's not broken?
It's about to be Godzilla x Kong is about to beat, what's my other Monsterverse movie that I like with Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, Loki.
Skull Island?
Yes. It's very close to beating Skull Island.
Yeah.
In the box office.
Absolutely. Godzilla X Kong was not my favorite of the franchise, but it clearly is a lot of people's favorites because it has been racking up the money. I think it crossed like $600 million at the box office.
Yeah, if it hasn't, it's very close. I think, you know what? I think it's 555. I think it's his worldwide box office.
So good for them. Michelle Yeoh of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon alum, amongst other legendary things. Best Bond girl ever in the history of Bond girls. Well, second to Eva Green.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was like,
she will star in Blade Runner 2099, 2099, which is a sequel series to the Amazon, which is a sequel series that is going to be on Amazon. It is going to be a sequel to Blade Runner 2049.
Yes, typo in our notes. Sorry.
So it's going to take place 50 years later. Plot details are being kept under wraps. Do we know if this is live action or animated? I feel like I heard this might be animated.
Let's check real quick. I do not know. I haven't. Have you seen all of these?
I saw the first Blade Runner.
Okay.
Yeah, it does say it's a live action sequel.
Oh, okay.
So
the one you found has live action.
On IMDb it says it's live action, so that's good.
Okay.
I think I recall hearing like rumors or something that they were going to do like an anime Blade Runner, and that might be something completely different that they are still doing. Because anime is like the thing. I mean, not the thing, but they're incorporating more anime into Western stuff now.
Yes.
So especially X-Men '97. Good job.
Show.
So excited about that. Michelle Yeoh is great. She also still does action. She loves action and still doing martial arts. And Blade Runner, the world of Blade Runner is like the perfect setting for that. So I think that's what's been lacking in a lot of Blade Runner movies is that they play them as dramas when they should be action films.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. They're not very high octane, the Blade Runner film, even though they're set in a world that would be better suited for like high octane stuff.
Okay. Well, hopefully Amazon promotes it. How about that?
Yeah. And last piece of Buncha Crunch is that Sigourney Weaver is in talks to join Mandalorian and Grogu.
Hey.
So Sigourney Weaver, Ripley is back in space.
Right. That's immediately, I immediately thought of Aliens, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but I was like, hey, Aliens.
The casting announcement was a picture of Mandalorian and Grogu, and next to it was a picture of Sigourney Weaver from the first Aliens. Like, she hasn't looked like this in forever, but that's because everybody knows that Ripley is going to be in Star Wars.
Ripley, space, Aliens. You can't disconnect that at all.
There was also rumors that she might come back to the Aliens franchise, which I don't know, because she did kind of definitively die in the third one.
No, you don't.
And then they tried to clone her and bring her back. So she could be another clone.
Don't clone. We already had clones with I guess that's not a clone. The robot. He's not a clone, technically, right? Dave. The character, the Michael Fassbender.
David? No, he's an android.
Oh, okay. So
but I mean, I could see it being a good idea. It seems like every alien they've made since then without Sigourney Weaver, they cast a new female character to be the de facto Ripley. So
you're right. You're not wrong about that.
Just go ahead and bring Ripley back.
I don't know.
I would see it.
Sometimes you just gotta let things go.
Or that, yeah.
And let a new audience grow up with it. And then if it's good enough, people will go back and watch it and go, oh, okay, this is how this started. So No hate to Sigourney Weaver though. Love that she's gonna be.
She wasn't in the last Ghostbusters, so you might be right. Sometimes you just have to let things go.
Her agent was like,
she dashed a really good bullet.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Okay, so that is all of our movie news, trailers, and Buncha Crunch for the week. We are going to take a short break, and then we're going to get into our movie review, Kingdom of the Planets, of the Apes, of the War, of the World, of Planet of the Rise.
Next.
All right.
Yay. This week, we watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that was just released yesterday, May 10th, 2024. It is directed by Wes Ball, who also directed the Maze Runner trilogy, which is good. So you can go watch that.
Very good.
The cast list I'm going to run down here is Owen Teague, Kevin Durant, Peter Macon, Linda Peckman, Travis Jeffrey, Sarah Wiseman, Neil Sandilands, Ika Darville, and Ra Samuel Weld as Ben Gizzy.
Wow.
I butchered. I'm sorry, Ra Samuel.
No, I mean, I did not see that last time.
Okay.
So.
I jacked it up so bad. I'm so sorry. So not a lot of maybe super recognizable people in this cast. It's all mocap. And when we say mocap, we mean motion capture. So we don't get a lot of oh, you know what? I totally forgot about the humans in this movie. Let me run that back. Humans, Furya Allen, William H. Macy, who we didn't know prior to this movie coming out.
We did not know Frank was going to be in.
Exactly. And
Frank's liver has lasted this long that he is one of the last humans left after
his character in this movie is very Frank-like. Yes. So we'll get to that in spoilers. And then Detchen Lachman, I think I said her name right. Who is from Severance.
Yes.
So if you don't recognize her name, she's from Severance. And then Freya Allen is from The Witcher.
Yeah, she's Ciri.
When you said it, and I was kind of like, I don't recognize her, but she's grown up, and I haven't seen The Witcher in a while. So
and you mentioned like she's usually blonde in The Witcher, and she's less dirty.
Yeah, she's very cleaned up.
Yes.
In The Witcher. So that is our cast. Runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes. So she lengthy, a little lengthy. Budget of $160 million. Current box office sits at $21.5 million for opening day. So that includes, it actually did some early previews on Wednesday.
Yes.
So that includes some Wednesday previews, Thursday previews, and all of Friday. The projections are at $50 million for the weekend in the US, and then $80 to $90 million 5-day opening overseas, which will give this movie around projections 130 to 145 global, which is pretty darn good. I think they said it might be the best of the franchise opening box office wise.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
On the other side, however, the rating. So this has a B. Had to add it to our notes. B cinema score. I'm gonna go through all the ratings first and then get into that conversation. B rating score for cinema score, 80 and 80 for both critics and audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, this ain't good.
That's so strange.
The cinema score of a B is pretty bad, and you guys are probably like, but a B from an A to an F.
And this is an elementary school.
Yeah, right. No, and there's no curve. Unless you are a horror movie. Horror movies having B's or like B minuses are actually good because people are like, that's just how horror is.
Yes.
For any other movie, you don't want anything less than a B plus. This is actually the lowest rated Apes movie out of the franchise outside of the Tim Burton one, I think, but we don't count the Tim Burton one. We just kind of push that one to the side. So it's not great for what we call legs, box office legs of a movie. Typically, cinema score is when they go and poll people that come out of the movie theater opening day. These are your diehard fans. These are your people that are kind of like your number one moviegoers. They are coming out and saying this movie is just not meeting their expectations. Because if it was, they would give it an A or an A minus.
True.
I was guessing they would get like a B plus.
I thought it would get at least an A minus.
A minus. I'm kind of sad for it.
The way it was positioned by critics.
Yeah, a lot of the early reviews.
The best of the Apes movies so far.
Yeah.
I expected that to be reflected. I mean, and that's probably foolish to expect the critics'
reviews
to be reflected in the audience.
I would say more often than not, those early reviews do not be a right reflection sometimes.
The Apes movies are always usually smash successes, and they always just seem like easy wins. So I expected this to... I went into this thinking this movie could do, and I think I said that a little bit in the last episode, was like, this movie could do nothing but just show apes, and people will love it because people just love the Planet of the Apes movies.
They actually had a story and a plot in this one.
Yeah.
So I'm confused of why we peeked at some of the lesser reviews and people said it was too long. They thought it was boring.
A lot of the complaints seem to be about the length.
But it's not, 2.5 hours is lengthier, but it's not, it's like the norm now. So I don't understand why people are like too long for this type of movie.
I'm not sure. A part of me thinks maybe it's because this one has the least amount of humans in all of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Okay.
So maybe people didn't like the fact...
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Kingdom
of the Planet of the Apes and humans.
Godzilla vs. Kong focuses a lot on the humans, and Jurassic Park does a lot of that too. So,
and that's kind of a perfect setup right there.
This movie didn't really need humans because the apes are smart. So,
right. I don't know.
But
It's kind of a set. Film Twitter is confused, by the way.
Yeah, we're all confused. So we're not sure whether or not this will affect its box office in the long run. In comparison, Thor: Love and Thunder got a B+ cinema score. It's the second lowest cinema score in the MCU's history.
This
but
is definitely better than Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder was also a financial success. It still made its money back, and it still had really long legs.
It did.
And a lot of people could say that, well, it's because it's part of the MCU. Well, this is part of
but Thor: Love and Thunder got trashed on deck.
PAU?
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes universe?
PAU? Peele? I don't know how you would say that.
So, they need to work on that branding so that we have something to call it.
Right. Because the titles is very long.
The Apeverse.
The Apeverse. There we go.
Yeah.
That rings a little better.
So it's confusing. But
it is very confusing.
What we do know is that the critics and the audience are in alignment. So
they are 80 and 80. Do you like?
It's definitive.
Right. I guess the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes reflects the cinema score.
Yeah, nobody's cooking the books.
I don't know. General audiences weren't feeling it. But fun fact before we get into our review for this, the script was written by Josh Freeman, who's also now that I say this, I'm like, oh no. Was also the writer of the new Fantastic Four movie. So for me, I'm excited about that because I like this movie.
Yeah, and I mean, that doesn't mean it'll be the exact same because Fantastic MCU movies are more spectacle.
Yes.
And I think people wanted to see more like action or something in this one.
I don't know what
this one was a very emotional movie. I will say that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Okay, so let's summarize the plot. This movie picks up many generations. I don't know if we have the number of years after Caesar has passed away from the last Apes movie.
Mm-hmm.
And now we pick up with Noah and his people. And he is basically on a quest to... Is it spoilery to say save his family? No, right?
No, not really, because the trailer kind of gives away that there's like...
Noah's on a quest to save his family from a bad fellow ape, essentially. I feel like... And in the midst of this, he runs into a human who's also on her own mission to do her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say, that's the best way I can explain it without spoiling it.
Yeah.
I think. And he makes some friends along the way.
Yes.
Friends and enemies, actually.
Friends.
So what did we like? Oh, no. Who did we like and didn't like? Now, this might be a little difficult because, not difficult, but different because most of the actors are apes doing mocap. Or apes doing mocap. Humans doing mocap as apes.
So I pretty much liked everybody. I didn't have any character that I didn't like or that I thought was annoying.
Standouts for me would be Raka, who was the orangutan.
Yeah, so Peter Mackin, who plays Raka, is a Bornean orangutan. Who they always have like one orangutan per movie.
I noticed that when I was looking at the other 8 movies.
So he was really good. He was like not a prophet. He was like a disciple of the teaching of Caesar.
Yes.
Like him, and he says like it was a lot of other apes like him. He was the last of his line. But this takes place, it says 300 years after after the death of Caesar. Okay. Even though the movie only says many generations later.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
In the post-production notes, it says 300 years after.
Okay.
So him and his other fellow apes, Raka, have just been continuing on the teachings of Caesar to preserve because somebody has to preserve the history. So they're like the ape archaeologists.
Right. So I guess we should at least run down the cast or who was in this movie. So Noah's our lead. We have Proxima Caesar, who's the main villain. We have Raka, who is the wise orangutan. Sunya, which is Noah's love interest. I think that's not
that wasn't very it's not spoiler because that was not very clear until the very end of the movie.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then there's Anya, who is kind of like their friend. So the trio of the movie is Noah, Sunya, and Anya.
Anaya.
And I told you I was gonna mention her name. Anaya. And there's Dar, who's Noah's mother. There's Coral, who's Noah's father. We have Sylvia, who is that's not Sylvia, that's say that.
I think it's just Silva.
There we go. Who is a gorilla who is kind of like the second villain, you would want to say. He's the goon.
Yes, he's the main goon.
He's the ape goon of the movie. And then we also have Wes Samuel, who played Lightning, he must have been a chimpanzee goon who with the messed up face.
Yes.
Had to be. Because there was like two main goons of the movie.
Yeah.
And so we have May / Nova, who was one human, and then we have Trevathan.
Yeah,
I can't make his name difficult.
This is so far in the future, so everybody's names are weird. There's no John.
Right.
So William H. Macy is Trevathan?
Sure.
Like
John
Nathan?
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, and then we'll leave the last human for spoilers.
Yes.
So that is our cast. Yeah, all of the apes were cool. I think Raka stood out because he was like that wise. I did like the trio of Noah, Anaya, and Sunya.
Yeah,
they made a cool trio. His parents
they were like our Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
Oh, this is giving very Lion King.
Yeah,
this whole movie. Interesting.
Yeah,
not plot wise, but they were like Simba, Timon, and Pumbaa.
Yeah,
I get that. All right, let's get into what we liked and didn't like about the movie.
Things that I liked about the movie. I liked the characterization of the apes, the main character apes. They were like a family, but I mean, so there are factions of apes. They call them tribes.
Yeah, or clans.
So this was the Eagle clan of apes, and they lived in the forest. It says that it's actually in the Los Angeles basin. This movie takes place in LA.
Okay, I can see that.
They live in the forest of Los Angeles. It's 300 years after the fall of Caesar, which is a long time after the fall of civilization. So everything is overgrown.
All forest everywhere.
Yeah, all the cities look like overgrown forest. So I liked them. I liked their little aesthetic. They were like the tree people. They're apes, but they're like the tree people. And they befriend birds that do their hunting and do their messaging. And they all have
raise birds, actually.
They'll have like a bird companion, like a chocobo, like in Final Fantasy or something.
Yes.
The effects were great.
Mocap was excellent.
And I really liked all the dumb human jokes.
Yes.
Because it's so far removed from the fall of man. And apes have been smart for so long.
Right.
But they don't read.
They don't.
So they don't have a lot of context for how humans ended up the way they are. So that in their mind, humans used to be smart, but they're dumb. And they can't imagine a time when humans were like the dominant smart species.
Right. There's a scene where they encounter a human and she smells. And they were like, ooh, rank, we gonna just leave her over there.
Or because that's what humans would say about monkeys. And then there's Raka literally just says like humans are a little slow.
Yeah, so. He did. The flipping of the apes and humans, like how they live was like the apes live like humans, and then the humans live like I don't want to say apes because apes obviously in their natural environment
like wild animals, basically.
Kind of like wild animals.
Like they call them herds because a group of humans, they call them herds, which you wouldn't call a group of people a herd of people.
They're like wild animals who are dependent though on the apes, which is interesting. Versus apes now aren't dependent on humans,
right?
But these herds are.
Yeah, they're like scavengers, basically.
Basically, yes.
I thought the villain was good.
Very good villain. The guy who played, or the motion capture for the villain and his mannerisms were very good. Kind of like in Godzilla X Kong. When they, like, how we were like, man, this ape acting real human like.
Yeah. He
had very human motivations, which was interesting as an ape.
What's his name? Proximus Caesar. Mm-hmm. He kind of gave me, and I think I said this before, but confirmed watching the movie. He kind of gave me Forrest Whitaker from The Last King of Scotland vibes.
I was almost leaned over to you and said, this reminds you of him,
because he's like a really villainous, like charismatic guy that tries to be. He talks to you like he's friendly, but you know that he's like a killer.
Cut your head off at any moment. Yes.
Or that he'll like kill Carrie Washington and dismember her in a bathtub. So
he definitely could have did that in this movie. I would not have been surprised.
And he's an ape, so I mean that's like their thing is like ripping off limbs. So I thought he was a good villain. And the effects,
yeah, I love the movie. I mean, this is not a spoiler. Caesar is dead, obviously, but the movie starts off with Caesar's, I guess, funeral, if you want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they burn his body, and I was like, I love how burning of people's bodies, like when they pass away, it transcends species.
Yes,
it transcends
space,
time, space. I was like, it don't matter what setting you put a movie in, they will burn
ashes to ashes. It's like the one thing that everybody gets
everybody
across.
Will do it.
I
thought that was so like it was touching, but it was also kind of like this tradition will never die.
They did it in Asgard when they burned Thor's mother, not alive, but she was dead. But they set her on fire and floated her down the river.
They did it, I think, in Secret Invasion. I think they burned. This is a spoiler for Secret Invasion. You don't need to watch it. They burned. What's his name? Who died?
The dad.
Yes, they burned the dad. Because they said that was their tradition. I think they burned him. But I love how it transcends species.
Yeah.
Not just space, time, and placement, but also species.
Yeah, everybody gets a cooking.
Everybody as your final send-off. Let's see. I like that the monkeys were riding the horses like humans do. I just loved all of the very human-like qualities of the apes in this movie.
Yeah, so one of the production notes on this film is that they wanted to portray the apes in this, if you go back and watch the apes in the other movies in the franchise, their movements and mannerisms are a lot different. It's because they said that they really wanted to show how much more the apes have advanced over the 300 years. So they're much more human-like than even in the Caesar-based films.
That makes sense. They did a very good job at that. All right. Is there anything else we want to mention before we get into spoilers?
I don't have very many dislikes. It felt long in parts, but I didn't really mind it. I will say this is one of the 2-hour films that didn't make me antsy.
True. I would agree. I would say that I feel like even though the first half hour is mostly all dialogue, I mean, there's some little bit of actions that you see the apes kind of living their lives and doing some things. But it kind of floated. I was like, damn, we a half hour in already? Kind of crazy.
This movie has a lot of mystery because they plant the seeds of clearly something else is going on in the background, or things may not be what they seem. And I think setting it so far in the future and making it so that history, the real version of history, is kind of lost to time, kind of adds to the mystery of, like, what did happen over those 300 years?
Or how much do you know and how much do they not know?
Right. Like you were, a lot of the movie you're trying to figure out, like, do the apes know, like, how all of this took place?
Right.
And a lot of them don't. They have a lot of different, they have different stories about how the fall of man took place.
The elders are supposed to be the ones that keep passing down the history, but at some point the elders don't know the whole history. So it started getting lost as generations are going on.
Yeah. And I thought that was good.
I think it looks good. There's one particular fight scene at the very end that I think looks really good, which I will get to.
Yes.
And actually, there are a couple I would want to say. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all I have non-spoilery.
So who did and didn't do a good job in this film? I thought the writing was good.
Yes.
The directing was good. Visual effects, great.
Yeah.
As far as characters, everybody did a good job. I thought all the characters were good.
I would say William H. Macy's character could have turned it up a little bit. I don't think there's much I didn't like. It was a little long, but I wouldn't say that was a negative. There's nothing I would chop out, honestly.
Did you have a favorite character?
Rocka would be my favorite, although I will say the Caesar, no, I'm calling him Caesar. Noah was very good. You can kind of see him progress through the movie of kind of being like, just a young chimpanzee, living his life, doing his thing, honoring his traditions of his clan or whatever. And then his world gets rocked and he gotta grow up, essentially. Noah
was a good main character. He wasn't like super skilled or anything. He was resourceful and he was clever and he knew how to survive, but he wasn't like battle trained.
Right. He basically gets thrown into a situation where it's either you gonna do or die.
Right. Exactly.
And he has a couple, as he's going and meets his friends along the way, he has a couple of things where he has to evaluate, like, are you being truthful? Are you being honest? Can I trust you? And then at the end, he gets to his full kind of like, all right, I'm grown. I know what I need to do at this point.
Any surprise performances in this film?
I actually liked Nova.
May?
Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. She was a surprise performance.
Yeah. She wasn't just your normal. In the trailer, you think she's just some kind of helpless human.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really the case.
She's a lot more resourceful than you think. And the story definitely takes a turn that
she got a mission.
The story definitely takes a turn that I did not see coming in the trailer.
Yeah.
Especially by the end of the movie.
They cut the trailers very well to where they didn't reveal a lot of, I think, important parts of the movie. Yeah,
because, and this isn't a spoiler, Proximus, the main villain, doesn't really get introduced to the film till like the second half of it.
Yeah.
So the trailer is mostly just that first half of the film.
Yes.
Before everything kind of like hits the fan.
Outside of What a Wonderful Day, that's all that you see in a trailer of Proximus Caesar.
And we're maybe 45 minutes into the film at that point.
Oh, yeah. It's probably a good hour before we even get to him.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, I thought that was good, and it was a surprise.
But not an hour before the turn-up happened.
No, it definitely turned up, but he did not show his face until we were deep into the film. Okay, so are there any other pre-spoiler notes we want to throw out before we get into spoiler territory?
Let me check my notes. No. Everything else I have is a little spoilery. Yep.
Okay, so we are going to get into spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1.
I didn't realize there were going to be, and this is silly to not realize this, there were going to be like different factions of monkey clans, and some of them clans was not going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, just like it comes full circle with the evolution thing. They mimic human nature so much, they end up being just like humans, and they separate into different groups with different beliefs. Yeah,
so Caesar's clan's tradition is they have this bonding that they do with the bird eggs that they get because their clan raises birds, eagles.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, as you said, it's kind of like a chocobo.
Yeah.
So Caesar, human, May actually shows up to their encampment or whatever, looking for some food. And I'm going to keep calling him Caesar, but the man's name is Noah. Noah has a little tussle around with her because he's trying to like spook her off or whatever and crushes his egg. So he's like, crap. The thing is ceremony's tomorrow. I ain't got no egg. I got to go out and get another one. So he goes out and get another one. And in the midst of that, he stumbles up on the evil clan, the Goon clan, we'll just call him Goon clan, causing some disruption. And that's how he finds out. That's how the audience finds out that there's other clans out here doing some devious things.
Yeah.
But because he left his horse out in the open, they are able to track his clan down because they basically follow the horse back to his home. They burn down the home, and this is where Noah, I almost called him Caesar, Noah has his moment of, I've lost my home. They kill his dad.
They did. Who's the leader of their clan. And
Noah has to go on this adventure to find his folks because he tells his father after he's passed away, I'm going to bring my family back home. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like, oh, of course we have goon clan monkeys, because why can't people just be decent?
No.
Or apes, I'm sorry.
No.
Why can't apes just be decent?
So, yeah, basically we're introduced to this new clan of conquering apes.
Yes.
Who were sent by Proximus, because Proximus basically enslaves all the other 8 clans to bring them back to his kingdom. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what for yet. Right. So they burn down Noah's village and take everybody alive except for his dad. They kill him because obviously you kill the leader and take all the people. So they are gone for the first half of the movie after that initial opening. And we get a really long chunk of film of Noah just traveling across the landscape alone for the first time with him and his horse. His dad's eagle, which is called Sunbird, did survive. And she kind of follows him where he goes. But Sunbird never really liked Noah, so...
And we don't get... I guess that was one of the opening things, or one of the questions I had. We don't get why his dad's bird doesn't like Noah, but she, pecks at him.
I think it's just a mean pet.
Okay, I do have why the rude bird.
Yeah.
That's one of my notes.
But the bird kind of, keeps hanging around him. Mm-hmm. And even though she doesn't really like him, and she scratches him when he tries to reach for her.
Right.
But I put in one of my notes, Sunbird is a pending friendship.
I'd say I was like, this gonna circle back. And it's gonna be a nice moment. But we already knew that the bird was gonna be like, Caesar, you okay now?
It's like one of those things where the stray dog follows you because it knows you have food, and then if you keep throwing treats at it every now and then, it'll eventually get more comfortable.
Right.
So yeah,
the bird was waiting for Noah to prove himself.
Yes, basically. And he runs into Raka, which is your favorite character.
Yes, I like Raka because Raka was very much kind of when he runs into Noah, he basically falls into a trap, and he's got I don't know if it's a stick or something on Noah. It's kind of like, who is you? Why is you here?
He's got one of those shock sticks from the original Planet of the Apes.
What you want? And Noah explains himself. And he's like, oh, well, this is when Raka goes into, well, I'm actually a descendant of the teacher of the real Caesar, because when Goon Clan shows up to burn down Noah's village, they say, all hail Caesar, or this is for Caesar.
For Caesar, mm-hmm.
And Noah's kind of Noah actually doesn't know Caesar. So it seems like the teachings of Caesar are starting to fade. Mm-hmm. At this point of the passing down of the generations, because Noah's they mentioned this guy named Caesar, and Raka was like, no, they use Caesar's name in a bad way. Caesar was about apes working together. This Goon Clan is about chaos, destruction, and a bunch of bullcrap. So this is where we find out that the elders, Noah's kind of the elders didn't teach us this because they didn't know. So we start to formulate the picture of Caesar's teachings are 1, being forgotten, and 2, we got another Goon Clan that's twisting his words for something bad, which is not great.
Yeah.
Ever in any type of, and unfortunately we have examples of all this happening in real life with humans. So the apes are literally doing what the humans be doing. Yeah. Evolution is jacking everybody up.
Absolutely.
So we get to Raka and Caesar meeting. Listen, when I say Caesar, just know I mean Noah. We get to the dynamic duo meeting, and then they run into Nova. But they call all the humans Nova. No, I don't know why they call her Nova.
So this is another
note. Her Nova, and then they just go with it.
In War for the Planet of the Apes, Nova was the name of the deaf girl, of the mute girl.
Okay.
In the film. That was his last new human friend that he made before he died. So I think that kind of plays
passed down.
Yeah, I think that kind of plays a role into the last companion of Caesar was Nova.
You know what? I actually think Nova is the name of the girl in the original Planet of the Apes.
Also, okay, yeah, it's a thing that they carry.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cute. I mean, cute in the sense of they passing a name through each of the movie, even though Nova sometimes good, sometimes not good.
Yeah.
So they run into the human, the main character, Nova in this, and then we get to some back and forth and some kind of good scenes of them kind of learning to trust each other. And then we find out that Nova actually talks. Like, she got a full... She don't talk like apes talk. She talk like humans talk. Like me and you talk. And she's kind of like, my mother told me silence because they were shocked that she spoke, because to them, humans are stupid.
Yes, but when they run into ones that talk, they try to use them as tools. Right,
exactly. So we get into their journey of basically, Nova's real name is May. May's trying to get to where the other humans are that are like her that can talk. And Caesar, Noah, is trying to get to his people. So they basically trying to work together to help each other out.
Yeah.
At what we halfway into the movie, we get into all three of them are together trying to make their way to both accomplish both of their missions.
Yeah. So they formed the Fellowship of the Ring, and they're traveling across Middle Earth so that they can get their family back. Well, Noah's family back.
Right.
And of course, Raka bites it.
I knew it.
Because he's too good and charismatic of a character.
Yeah. I hate that. I actually didn't like that.
Yeah, it sucks because
I knew it was coming
we meet Raka after finding out that the same group that burned Noah's village also ran through Raka's home and killed the last ape that was with Raka. So now Raka is the last of the disciples of Caesar or whatever. And now Raka sacrifices himself to save May, who the smart human, and it only ends up being Noah and May going forward.
Frodo and Sam at that
they get captured, by Silva the gorilla, who works for Proximus.
He was very good at being a goon. Main goon.
The gorilla, yeah. They always use the gorilla as the muscle.
He was intimidating though. Every time he was like running or jumping or climbing, I was like, ooh, you gonna move out the way, Noah? Because he about to catch you.
Yeah. So they capture Noah and May, and they finally take them to Proximus, who is crazy, holding up camp.
Cuckoo.
Yeah. He's holding up camp like somewhere along the coast.
It almost looks like they're on a rotted out cruise ship. It's a huge ship that they are basically living out of.
Yeah. So basically they get there and they see that Proximus has acquired a lot of clans.
He's out here basically
he's a conqueror.
Yeah, conquering clans and enslaving them.
Yeah.
Rude.
Because he is trying to get into a bunker. A military bunker, one of the last military bunkers on Earth.
Right.
That he knows that it has human technology and human knowledge on the inside. Because what Proximus wants is to become smarter. He wants to become smarter. He wants to understand so that he can be a better conqueror.
He's literally a human villain.
Yeah.
And he knows all this because William H. Macy's character been telling him all this hot mess.
Yeah.
He's that human character that's just a chump. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's a tool.
He rolled over and is kind of accepting that humans are gone and died out, even though, they may not be. And
he don't care at this point.
Doesn't care. He's only looking out for himself. So the production notes say Proximus Caesar's clan reside near the remains of Coronado Bay Bridge near San Diego. So they're in San Diego. So they... Raka's residence is in LAX, so they travel from LAX to San Diego, California via horseback.
Oh.
Yeah, so they were traveling.
That's why this movie long. No, I'm just
playing. They were traveling for a very long time.
Okay. I will say that it was interesting how, when Proximus gives his speech, that's where It's a Wonderful Day comes from in the trailer. What he's doing is hyping up his slaves, essentially, to open up this vault because he wants to get inside, but they can't get in it. So every time they try to get in it, some apes either get injured or hurt because the methods that they're trying to do doesn't work. They're trying to blow it up with dynamite, trying to use horses, trying to pull on it. But when everything breaks, the ropes and chains and stuff kind of kick back and hurt people. But he has this grand stature right before, but when they can't get it open, he's kind of losers.
Yeah, basically, because he treats them like slaves.
Right. He's like, basically, we'll do this again tomorrow because y'all ain't worth nothing.
Right.
And I will keep, he says this to, I think, Noah and May, that I will keep doing this and I will keep sacrificing apes until I get this thing open, because to him, it's his vault now.
Yeah.
May's like, this is a human vault. It belongs to us. Like, you don't deserve to be in there. And he was like, psych, it's mine now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get in it one way or another.
And May tells William H. Macy, like, you can't help them because you
Mm-hmm.
know the last bits of human tech and knowledge went into this vault, and you know what's going to happen if they get in there. They're going to become too smart and unstoppable.
Yes.
And William H. Macy is just like, I mean, that's just going to be the way of the world going forward.
Yeah, he's a loser.
He's an idiot. Yeah.
And what I like about May and Noah's relationship at this point is Noah has this speech where he's like, well, not speech. He has a conversation with May where he's like, I only trust that you are going to help yourself.
Yeah.
But I trust that enough that you helping you is going to help me as well.
Absolutely.
So that's how in this particular movie, there's no like human and ape like super bond where they're like best friends and they kicking it and they kikiing and having, eating lunch and stuff together. He don't trust her. She don't trust him, but they know they need to help each other.
She's like Ilsa Faust. From Mission Impossible, where she's working with Ethan, but she has her own job that she's
definitely
doing.
got her own agenda.
And she's a little bit of a killer.
You talking about May or Ilsa, or both?
Both.
Yeah, I was about to say, because May turned up.
Yeah. So May's like, okay, we're going to sneak. I know how to get into this bunker. I know a way in that this idiot Proxima Caesar hasn't even thought of. So I know how to get in. She's like, but I need your help. So Noah's like, great, I'm going to grab Suna and Anaya. And the four of us are going to work together to scale this mountain. Right. So that we're cliffside, so that we can sneak into the bunker from the back entrance.
It's kind of like the vents. They kind of go through the ventilation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So while they're getting there, they first create a bomb.
Yes.
To blow the dam, because Noah's first instinct was Noah's idea to blow the dam, right? Because he gets it after he finalizes his friendship with Sunbird.
Yes, they get it. The bird and Noah finally have a pact.
They do. So they're friends now. And Noah's like, well, we need to blow up the dam. And she's like, well, I need to get into the bunker. So they build the bomb to blow up the dam.
They set it up.
They set it up, but don't use it. And while they're on their way to go get into the bunker, William H. Macy comes out of the shadows.
Oh, Lord.
And William H. Macy is basically like, I'm going to snitch because I'm cozy here and you're going to jeopardize that. So I'm about to go tell. So when he walks off to go tell, May jumps into action and she strangles him to death.
Yes, like she's done it before.
Yes. Like very easy. Like she knew the proper placement and everything.
She had him locked in like a
good form
headlock of some sort. And it don't take her very long to take him out.
Good form. Yeah.
And the trio, the ape trio, is kind of like, ma'am, you just killed your fellow.
It's kind of like Rogue when she dropped Trask off the building.
Yes. And everybody was kind of like.
And Jean and Nightcrawler could have held, but they kind of just watched.
Killed them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to keep going, so let's go.
And it had to happen. One,
he deserved it. So.
If he snitched, they were going to die. Two, he was working against May by stopping her mission, but he was also going to jeopardize Noah being able to free his people. William H. Macy had to go.
He was actually going to kill two birds in one stone, literally by snitching. And
absolutely.
We couldn't have that.
Yeah, William H. Macy had to go. So,
peace.
Bye, Frank was my note. Thanks for what you gave us.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
So they successfully climb into the bunker. They get there, and May's like, well, y'all kick it and do some snooping, whatever.
Just stay here for a little bit.
She told Noah, the whole reason I want to get into the vault is because there's a book, quote unquote, inside this vault that, and this book is going to possibly give all the humans their knowledge back. Right. And Noah's like, all right, fine, I'll help you. But I'm really just trying to help my family. So,
right. I'm going to help you so you can help.
While the apes are snooping around, we find out that May went into the vault to get a SATCOM chip.
It's kind of like a disk drive.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the technology, but it's some kind of drive that's labeled for SATCOM. And SATCOM means satellite communications. Yes. So she was looking for satellite communications technology.
She also ran across some guns.
And she ran across a couple pistols and some machine guns.
We'll get back to that.
But she leaves them.
She does.
She leaves the machine guns.
She leaves the automatics.
Yes. And while she's doing her little side quest, the apes are snooping around. Clearly the bunker was occupied by survivors for a very long time because they had like a little school in there. Yeah,
it's empty though. There's no like bones or nothing. It just looks completely deserted.
Yeah, and I think you're supposed to suspend your disbelief and just say that they died in the bunker. You don't see the skeletons because this is a PG-13 movie. And it can't be full of child bones.
No. Anybody's bones.
No really. Bones, period. No. So they run across like a little school room and they see like the plant. They see like a planet diorama, the star system. And they run into some children's books.
Of course
they run into the worst children's book.
A zoo book.
About zoo animals.
Just like, why you pick that one up?
And in the book, they see that apes were kept in cages. Now, when Noah asked May earlier, like, what was the world like before? And May was just kind of like, oh, well, humans were the dominants. Apes were silent.
Right. Humans could talk, apes, not so much.
But she left it at that. But I mean, in reality,
he should have asked more questions.
He should have asked more questions. Even though the children's book is not an accurate depiction of ape life prior to the fall of humans.
Most apes are not in captivity, but of course, that's not the book they got. They got the book where they are. So
they should have had the autobiography for like the ape that lived with Michael Jackson.
They should have had the Nat Geo book that show this is what actual animals look like in their habitat, but that ain't the book they ran into.
So they found the book with the apes in cages and people and kids like just looking at them. And it's just
more built on the distrust of both sides. Like they were working together, but they never really was 100% on board with each other trust-wise.
Because it's kind of revealed that May doesn't really want to help apes be smarter, or she doesn't want apes to continue to be the dominant. She wants to return things back to the way they were.
She does, because she says this is our stuff, like it belongs to us, like we were the dominant force. She chastises William H. Macy's character for reading to him and helping him read. She is not about apes getting further ahead in life.
It's like that soft racism where it's kind of like Noah, you're really good and your friends are really good and I like you guys and the way you are, but the general populace, no.
No, thank you. We need y'all back to where y'all was at.
Exactly.
Essentially.
So they get the SATCOM. They're on their way out because they got what they needed to do. Their mission. Of course, on their way out,
they open up the doors.
Proximus is waiting for them.
Locked
we don't
loaded.
know how they knew that.
I'm assuming it was because Noah's mom was standing next to him. So I wonder if he asked his mom, like,
it seemed like she knew.
Because we don't show Noah telling his mom what his plan is. So I'm not sure how they just happened to advance the plot. They were at the door at the right time to be able to see our heroes walk out.
So they catch them leaving. And Proximus is like, thank you for opening this vault.
Thank you very much.
And
where's the things at?
Where's the thing? So May said, not on my watch.
She does it.
And she pulled out the Thule that we found that she left the automatics, but she found herself a 6-shooter.
She got a handgun.
She did. And she put a bullet in Lightning, which is one of the henchmen apes.
One of the goons.
So for all of these apes, for all intents and purposes, she is basically Wanda.
I was going to say, she's a magician.
She has performed some type of black magic that has instantly killed somebody.
Right. They don't get the concept of guns.
No.
At all. So they kind of like, what just happened?
So Proximus is less concerned at the fact that she just shot one of his goons. He's more concerned with the fact that what you did was really cool. Can you tell me if there's like other stuff in there that can do that?
More. That whole scene was so she shoots Lightning. Lightning kind of stumbles. Then he falls dead because blood starts coming out of his bullet wound. And Proximus hides behind his fellow man and are kind of like, you can go now.
Right.
But tell me where you found the rest of them guns.
He's like, you can have all the freedom you want.
Goodbye.
Please, goodbye. But
go ahead.
Let me know. Are there other guns inside that I can use too and do that too?
He did a very good job of, you do yours, now let me go do mine.
His last king is Colin.
Oh, well.
So, she's like, also not on my watch. So she runs out. She runs outside and blows the dam and kind of leaves the apes to drown.
Yes, she does. Once again, she ain't about the ape life.
No.
Not at all.
So taking a pause, I get May.
As a human, yes.
I don't get the. I can see like in this world, these apes are clearly smart. They have sentience.
Yes.
There could be unity between human life and ape life. I do get
not doing that.
No, they're not doing that. So I don't get like her point of view as how she views the apes. I don't get that.
Yes,
but I do get the whole point of Proximus is
crazy.
If you take the apes out of the equation and replace them out with humans, Proximus is a conqueror who is getting too smart, and he's already bad enough with none of the tools and science.
Right. He's enslaving his own people with no technology.
I got her point of nobody needs to get into this bunker.
Exactly.
So I got the point of like not letting him in and also flooding the joint because she's like nobody needs access to this bunker. So I don't blame her for blowing the dam. It was kind of heartless to leave the apes to drown like that.
Now she did say before she opened the door, she said, you gonna have to get your clan and run.
She did let them know.
But
she said
pretty much just left after that.
Yeah.
She was like, bye, I gotta go. See you later.
I got what I got. Right, exactly.
It was kind of like, well, dang, girl.
So she blows the dam. It floods the whole bunker. And we
basically get Caesar's, Noah's, family's clan, or any of the apes that were there at that point, trying to fight for their lives because the water is coming in and they can't get back out. So they basically have to climb up back out of the ventilation system that they came in through so they can escape.
So like Noah's Ark, Noah leads the apes away from the flood to safety. Also earlier in the film, when he first meets Raka and they run into May for the first time together. Raka goes, "Oh, so May follows you," and he was like, "Maybe Caesar wants me to follow you too." And I was like, Noah, he just travels and picks up people wherever he goes.
You got a male and a female. They're just two different species. Yeah, that was. I didn't get that connection.
Yeah, I got him leading the apes to safety from the flood.
Which he does. He basically gets all his clan out. One of the good, I mentioned this earlier. One of the best fight scenes I think in this movie is him and Mangoon. I can't think of his character's name. The gorilla, Silva fighting at the end. They was moving and grooving in that water. It was almost like two humans, literally, but they were apes and they were getting down. He eventually drowns.
Yeah, because Caesar's not Caesar. Now you got me doing it. Sorry. Noah's clever, he can slip in places that Silva can't. So he basically led Silva into a corner where he got trapped in flood and drowned.
And Silva deserved it. He was bad.
He deserved it because he did kill his dad.
It was a great action sequence.
Yes,
however,
great,
very good, very good.
King Kong vibes. Just any scene of being chased by a giant gorilla is unsettling.
I was for sure I was gonna have a dream about it. I was certain I was gonna have a dream of a gorilla chasing.
There's enough videos of gorillas chasing actual people in the real world. So whenever Silva shows up and he's like giving chase, it's very
intimidating. You're like, oh my God, is he gonna get away?
Right.
I just knew it. I knew I was gonna have a dream, but I didn't think I.
So Noah gets out
with his people.
He successfully saved his clan and a whole bunch of other apes.
And unfortunately, main ape.
Yes, Proximus has also survived, but Proximus is about to get the scar treatment on Pride Rock.
He is. He was.
So Proximus is basically beating up on Noah, and he's about to throw him off the cliff.
Killmonger.
We get some Black Panther vibes there.
Just a little bit.
And earlier in the film, there was a tease that Noah's dad, who was the leader of their clan, was the Eagle Master, and he had a song that he would sing to the eagles.
Yes.
During the bonding ceremony that all the eagles know.
Yes.
Noah also knows the song, but he refused to sing it earlier.
To Raka, who had asked him. To Raka,
because his dad had just died. It wasn't the time.
Right.
But while all the eagles are flying overhead, because even though the eagles are not inside the encampment, they are outside the encampment because they're still following all of their owners.
Yes, they're just not coming over because his mom says this is Proxima territory, not Eagle Clan territory.
So the eagles are still close, but they're
not quite close.
They're keeping their distance, but the eagles are overhead in this sequence, and Noah starts to sing the song, the eagle song.
I like that sing.
I did, because all of his other clansmen jived with it and jumped in.
Join in.
And they all sing it together. And the eagles basically peck
turns into birds.
Yes.
It turns into the scene from Birds.
The eagles basically peck Proximus to death and
Right
throw
off the
him
cliff.
off the cliff to his death.
And he
And
deserves.
I thought that was good because it's not murder, it's manslaughter.
And they didn't do it. It was the birds.
Right,
As
exactly.
the birds jumped in.
Birds are known to do that. And
They-
these are like giant eagles. So
The apes are free of murder.
it's not murder if it's animal against animal.
If it's a different species of animal, yes.
No, it's just natural selection.
Now, two apes, sure.
Two apes,
Bird
fine.
and ape, no, absolutely
no,
not.
no.
Not in the
Just-
court of law. I say no.
It's a freak accident.
Right. It's birds.
So yeah, he dies, and we basically do kind of like a time jump.
Yes.
Where Caesar has led all of his clansmen,
Just like he promised his father, he brings his family back home.
and they're in the process of rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get May, who shows up
Yes.
at the village as well
Yeah, she sure did come back to say goodbye, quote unquote.
to say goodbye, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah basically gives her a reading, like, you trash,
Right.
You kind of left us to
You
die.
know you don't like us, so why is you here?
You left us to die. You've kind of been
Mhm.
lying the whole time. You had ulterior motives.
Yeah.
But he was like, you're not awful because you clearly didn't like kill us, and you
Right.
did help us, and I wouldn't
Right.
have been able to do all this without you. So, but
Right. But it does end where he kind of says, like, will you let us like live our lives? And she's kind of like, I don't know if that's
yeah,
gonna work
he was
out.
like, you basically want us to go back to being
Mhm.
dumb, speechless apes like
Yeah.
we used to. And she blatantly says, like, it's not, this world isn't meant for you. It's meant for us.
Right.
And the vault was full of our stuff and
Right.
human ideas, and it's just
Mhm.
not where you guys belong. And he's
Yeah.
just like, okay, so
Noah's basically like, so basically you saying we can't live
you're
side by side.
refusing to let go of the very thing that caused you to lose everything.
Yeah, which
So,
is an interesting setup, honestly.
very
'Cause,
interesting.
Like I said, the two main characters they're not getting along at the end either.
No.
Technically.
And while he's asking her, like, are we gonna be able to move forward peacefully? And she's like, I don't know. We get a shot of, she's got the gun behind her back with her,
Like,
ready,
she was
just
ready
in
to load
case
off.
Noah makes a sudden movement. She's gonna blow him away.
No trust.
So he
Zero
doesn't
trust.
he doesn't realize that, but he gives her Rocca's old necklace that
Mm.
has the symbol from Caesar
Yes,
on it.
yes.
And he's like, he's basically giving that to her as a peace offering. Like, take this back to your people,
Right.
and let them know that,
When you come back around here, leave us alone.
right, we're living our lives. We will be perfectly fine letting y'all live y'all lives. But
we about to it also got the hint from Noah saying, like, we're going to build back stronger. Like, we're going to learn some things in the meantime while y'all trying to get back to where y'all was.
yeah, because he's very much like, Proximus was the wrong guy, right message. We do need to learn.
Yeah.
Because we're the dominant species now.
Right.
And we do deserve to live better lives.
And y'all not about to take
But
us
we don't
back.
have to use that knowledge to destroy everybody else.
Exactly.
And her thing is like, I don't want apes learning anything.
Mhm.
So
Essentially.
he sends her off. And the final scenes we get are of May returning to a different bunker.
Yes, the bunker, I'm assuming, is where she was going the whole time, where she was
Yes.
trying to get the whole time.
A bunker full of humans
Mhm.
and some in hazmat suits. And they are living
they're in
underground because apparently they sent her out there to get the SATCOM.
You think they
tech.
sent her out there? Is that what you took? Okay.
I
that
do.
actually makes sense,
I
though.
do, because earlier in the dinner sequence with Proximus, he says that they picked up May with other people and she had a map.
Oh.
So she was not alone on her mission.
From that bunker.
Mhm.
That because one of my main questions was, we didn't get any backstory into where she came from, why she was able to talk as well as she was. Because we run into humans in the movie, a herd, who can't talk. They're very much kind of like Farrell, essentially. But she's like, no, they ain't my people. So that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
She probably did come from that bunker.
So she goes,
Okay.
she returns back to her bunker full of humans who are unaffected
Mhm.
by the illness and still have all of their intelligence.
Yeah.
And they use the SATCOM tech that she stole
Yep.
to turn the satellites on because they're like in a big satellite field. satellite base.
Mm-hmm.
And they turn the satellites on and they begin communicating with other humans across the world who are also bunkered up as well.
Somewhere
so
else.
It kind of leads into the humans are about to
start communicating and getting back together.
Communicating. They're about to regroup.
And then I guess our final shot. I don't know if this is final, but as we're looking at her with the humans, we also see Noah and Sunya looking at a telescope that Noah came across earlier.
Because apes are now starting to discover space.
Yes. So it basically the end of the movie sets up humans are starting to kind of get their numbers back together and talk to each other, and apes are rebuilding. But I also got the feeling that apes are also going to try to learn like how they got to where they are and kind of learn the humans' backstory so they can be smarter and be more prepared for whenever the humans turn back up.
Yeah.
Is what I got. I like the ending because you could not have a sequel if you didn't need it to, but for my opinion, I would want a sequel to where these two storylines about to reconverge, essentially. But I would say perfect ending, honestly, for this type of movie. Perfect ending. Is there anything we would change about this movie?
No, I don't think there's anything I would change about the movie. Like I said, I
wouldn't trim out anything.
I have an aversion to 2.5 hour films by default, but
I can't think of anything I would like cut.
This one used the runtime where there wasn't action. There was a lot of emotional scenes.
Yes,
that you don't usually get with Planet of the Apes films.
That's what I said. This had plot, story, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Planet of the Apes films are like action packed, and you have moments of apes talking to each other about what they're gonna do. But this had a lot. This was like it's like a family movie almost. Kind
of. There were some lessons here for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely,
I agree with that.
Okay, so do we have a favorite line or scene in this movie? Mine would be Raka saying that humans are a little slow.
So the campfire scene where they first run into May, that was a good scene. The whole scene with May killing the ape and then Proxima hiding behind his people, and then she's saying, "Nah, dog, you're not getting none of this. Flood the gates."
Yeah,
that was probably my favorite.
It was good. Him being more excited about the fact that she discovered gun magic.
Yes,
and he really wanted to know where it came from.
And she turned around and go, "You ain't getting that either."
Yeah, I love that.
Hit the button.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my favorite scene for sure.
Okay, who would like this movie? Who would we recommend it to, and who would not? I think just like the rest of the Planet of the Apes movies, this is what they call a 4-quadrant film. It hits all the marks for everybody. I think everybody can. I mean, even though don't ask the people who did the cinema score poll, but I don't understand.
It's gonna be a mystery that we in film Twitter will probably not be able to unsolve.
For people that like action, there's some action here. For people who don't care about action and are more like into dialogue and emotional sequences, this movie is full of them.
I don't understand what people's big gripe about it was.
It doesn't paint anybody in a bad light.
No,
really, humans are humans like they've always been humans. Apes are apes like they are turning into human, but
they inherited the bad human qualities.
The bad guy was somebody who, it's not like a pick a side thing. He's just a bad guy.
Exactly.
So, and it was easy. Nobody who enslaves their own people and goes around conquering and burning down villages is a good guy from any side.
No, and you get May's distrust of apes. You get Apes' distrust of May. Like, it all makes sense.
And I thought it was very well done. Like, I went into the movie thinking the May character was going to be like a crutch.
I thought she was going to be a helpless human.
But she wasn't. No. She had her own like agency, but
she sure did.
I did like the fact that it was very much of a means to an end type of situation.
It was. And I think my favorite, I'm going back. My favorite line might've been from Norm where he says, "I only trust you to help yourself, but that's going to help me out. So let's work together now."
And I like the fact that the movie didn't waste time with like a conflict between May and Noah. Like, they understood that they are from They're like, we're from different places. We kind of have different goals. We don't need to waste time trying to fight each other or be friends. We just need to work together to get this thing done.
Right. And May does have some sense of like, knowing that what she's doing is going to may negatively impact the apes, because she shares some tears and she has some moments of nervousness and whatnot, but she's still about her species at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She got one mission.
And I like the fact that there wasn't that many deaths. I like the fact that the trio, Anaya, Suna, and Noah all lived. I like the fact that his mom lived.
Right, because we don't need to get rid of both parents.
Of course, the dad had to die because Mufasa.
Right.
But I did like the fact that the mom lived and he still got his happy ending at the end.
Yes, and I like that we definitively killed the villains.
Yes, the villain is dead.
Both of them, him and the two goons. Out of here.
So final words about the movie and our rating.
I would say if you like any of the other Apes movies, you would like this movie. Yeah. I would see it. It looked good on the big screen.
It did. It looked very good on the big screen. CGI and visual effects were really, really good.
Mocap, quite good.
Absolutely.
Quite good.
So it's definitely worth the theater. I would not say wait for streaming. This is definitely a good theater experience.
Agree.
And I'm going to give it 5 Nicole Kidmans.
Ooh.
I am. I really enjoyed this movie. Nice. I don't really have a lot of negatives.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I'm going to say 4.5.
Okay.
And only say 4.5 because during the movie I had some questions that I feel like weren't answered. But it might be a situation where just setting it up for the sequel.
Yeah, because I think we're getting 5 more movies after this.
They want to turn this one at least into a trilogy.
Yes.
So at the very least, we'll get this and 2 more. But I'm somewhere between a 4.5 and a 5. It did feel a touch long, but I wouldn't trim anything out. So I'm going to go 4.5. Or 4.75.
Okay.
Try to trim that Nicole out.
I don't know how we're gonna
just a little bit
trim down Nicole, but okay.
Yeah, very very good movie though. Either way, very good movie.
All right, that is the end of our review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Go watch it. And what will we be doing next week?
Next week we have a combo, 2-piece combo.
A terrible twofer.
Of X-Men 97 and Fallout, which are both TV shows, both very good though.
On streaming,
so you can actually go watch. You can watch all of Fallout right now, and then X-Men 97. There's one more episode that will air Wednesday after our show premieres. So,
and then we'll do our review.
So it will be a twofer, no movie, just 2 TV shows, but excellent TV shows to recap.
Really good.
And that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message that we can play live on the show. Yeah. If it's nice.
Absolutely.
You can follow us on Twitter at VaguelyNerdyPod or IG at VaguelyNerdyPodcast. And you can reach us at VaguelyNerdyPodcast@gmail.com. If you're an audio listener, of course, you can listen to us on all streaming platforms. Yep. But if you want to see us, you can't. But you can see our
animated version.
You can see our animated podcast format on YouTube on the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast channel.
Awesome.
Until next time.
Peace.
Bye.